Anybody in here ever have a dream? Anybody in here ever have a really important dream? Anybody in here ever have a really important dream that you never understood? Dreams are a part of our life, and a lot of people don't understand the importance of dreams. So I want to share a dream with you that I had recently. In my dream, I was the leader of a small country or whatever, and we were waging war. And this particular day, we were getting ready to go back out into battle again, and the men were all despondent. They were all discouraged. They thought we couldn't win. They thought we couldn't beat the enemy and so forth. And I stood up in front of them and I told them, I said, you know, we are indomitable because we have spirit on our side and we are indomitable and we can conquer and we will conquer. That was the last of the dream. Dreams are personally relative. A lot of times you have a dream, it's a desire, that's one thing, but the most frequent dreams that we have are the ones where the subconscious mind is trying to resolve something, a problem, a situation, something going on in our lives. So while we are sleeping, our subconscious mind is trying to is trying to resolve something that we are concerned or upset about. So what was I concerned or upset about? I had come down with an acute bronchitis and was really wiped out. My energy level was down to extremely low. I was exhausted and coughing, and it was just a terrible period. And a lot of pain. And then after a while, how many of you have had pain for a long while? Okay? How many of you ever wonder if it's ever going to be over with? And how many of you get frustrated with it? Yeah, it gets frustrating. So I was looking at what I was feeling, and it's just my energy had gotten so low. And then I had the dream, and I knew what the dream was. When I first became a practitioner in 1982, I did a lot of counseling. As a matter of fact, full-time for 3 years, and 25 people a week. And they would tell me their dreams. And somehow or another, I was able to understand their dreams and tell them what they meant. Although normally what I would do is I would say, what do you think the dream means? Because it's important for the person themselves to understand the dream. And so they would explain the dream, and in most instances, they had it. And there were a few times when I didn't feel that the dream was right. And I would just say, well, my interpretation was such and such. And usually they would say, yeah, oh, yeah, that's what that's about. So anyway, I looked at this dream, and in the dream, the leader is my spiritual self. The army is my ego self. My ego self was feeling overwhelmed by the illness. And it was wondering when it was ever going to get better. And it was just really, well, if you've been through it, you understand it. So in the dream, I realized that as the leader of this nation, that it was my indomitable spirit that was in charge of my life. And I had a choice between whether I let my indomitable spirit be in charge of my life or whether I let a current situation rule my life. And so, as I came to that awareness, it brought me back on track. Because in Science of Mind, we deal with our problems and we try to understand what they are, and then we try to resolve them. So, if you've had a dream that you've had repeatedly, and you haven't had an interpretation of it or you don't understand it, get someone to interpret it for you. it's probably extremely important. It's something within yourself that you're trying to resolve. And a lot of times we don't have the conscious strength and awareness or presence to resolve it. And so the subconscious mind brings it up so that we can deal with it and handle it. How many of you have found that situation that when you dealt with the dream, you resolved the situation? Yeah, we have a few. Well, I urge you to pay attention to your dreams. So as I looked at that dream, I looked at life. And I thought about life. And we have this duality. We have the human being and we have the spiritual self. And our teaching is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Well, the human experience can get pretty challenging at times. But that's part of why we're here. We're here to learn, to grow, to expand. And some of us come here to experience serious experiences, strong negative experiences, so that we can help other people who have those same experiences. How can I talk to you about alcoholism if I haven't been an alcoholic? How can I talk to you about what it's like to be abused if I've never been abused? How can I talk about you about a relationship if I've never had a relationship? And so what we have in this room is a bunch of light workers. Everyone is here to help take this planet through the next phase. But what is the next phase? The next phase is like my illness and like my dream. We are awakening from our dreams of our limitations. And we are being lifted and guided into a higher expression of ourselves. Last night I was at someone's birthday party and there were 18 people around one table, and it was very difficult to understand because somebody's way down there and somebody's over here. And in the midst of all that chaos, that's what happened in the midst of all that chaos. I felt that presence and I felt that love. And it happened about 5 or 6 times. And our spiritual sources are saying that we are being bombarded with the light and the love of the higher beings to help us go through this transitional time on the planet. How many of you feel like you are changing or have changed drastically in your lifetime? How many? Yes, yes. And if we were to check your consciousness level of when you first came on this planet and where you are now, you would be amazed at the difference. Amazed at the difference. Most people only make a 5% change in their collective unconsciousness for the whole lifetime. And in this lifetime, we have people jumping hundreds of points and more and more. So where are we going? Well, where did we come from? We came from being perfect beings. God didn't make any junk. There's no junk in this room. And part of what I really want to get across today is that we need to realize who we really are. We're spiritual beings first. If you can feel the higher beings loving you during a prayer, sending you love, how many of you are fortunate enough to experience that? Yes, yes. And when that beautiful love comes in, it is way beyond the love that we have on this dimension. It is so pure and sweet and beautiful, and the consciousness is totally different. I had the occasion looking at the Buddha relics once, where in looking at the relics, I had a nanosecond experience of the Buddha consciousness. Oh my God. I felt like we were spiritual babies. But we're spiritual babies who have grown out of that childhood and into our maturity. And now it is we who are important in changing this world. You can look at the world situation out there and you can complain and bemoan, and that will just contribute to more of it. And the more you condemn and judge what's going on out there, the more you're inviting of it. At this point in time, we need to change the way that we deal with life. We need to change the way that we deal with our planet, and we need to change the way that we deal with our government and the world situations. We need to do what we've been taught. What we've been taught is that we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teacher, said that our thoughts are the prelude to our reality. And that's true, because our thoughts are our feelings and our vibrations, and they resonate out, and then they attract like back. People who have repeating negative situations need to look at what they haven't resolved in their life, because a repeating negative situation is a childhood belief that has not been resolved. And then we live it out at the subconscious level, most of the time not even aware of it. But we are going through this transitional phase where we need to rise above our limitations of our human self. And we need to become more of the spiritual warriors that we are. And we need to take our time and energies and our prayer and apply them to the planet and to all life on the planet and to Gaia, the spirit of the earth. We've abused our planet, we've abused ourselves, we've abused races and everything else. But we're in a powerful, powerful transitional phase. And how many are aware of the fact that we're in a powerful transitional phase? Yes, yes. And the other thing is that in this transitional phase, it is more important than ever to do your spiritual practices. The first spiritual practice is to get rid of your judgment. Get rid of your judgment. Because when you judge yourself, you'll judge someone else. And when you get rid of your judgment, a wonderful thing happens. People become beautiful. Everyone becomes beautiful. And you can, and how many here can feel another person's soul? Anybody? How many? Yeah, okay? Yeah. To feel another person's soul is almost like being in front of God. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. See, that's who we really are. We are these beautiful beings, and we have let ourselves be taught something less. And it's time to leave that behind. It's time for the power of Spirit to move in and through us and raise us above our problems and our negative thoughts, our negative feelings, and our doubts and our fears, and to move us into a new position where we really help this planet. Science of Mind teaches that as we think, so we create. Ernest Holmes said, what you believe is what you attract to you. And that's true. Our consciousness and our thoughts attract to us. If you want to be surrounded by beautiful people, be a beautiful person. If you want to be unconditionally loved, unconditionally love yourself. If we don't have reverence for ourselves, how are we going to attract it from someone else? As we go through this particular period in time, I wrote down a couple of things that I wanted to cover. As we go through these times, just a few key points. Use your spiritual tools. The first spiritual tool is to call on the higher beings. The angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, and all the higher beings. They love us to pieces. They absolutely love. They love us with that God love, that beautiful, pure love. And when you feel that love in your heart, you're just overwhelmed with the beauty of it. Make sure you have a support system of family and friends and your practitioners and your minister are also your support system. Use a lot of inspirational things, whether they're talks or music or books or whatever it may be. Utilize your daily prayer and your meditation and go take walks in the forest or go walk in the sun. When you walk in the forest, you're close to nature and we can more strongly feel that presence. Take time to be with your closest family and friends. Take time to be with people who see your beauty because most of us don't see our own beauty. That's really sad. That's really sad. Because everybody in this room is absolutely beautiful. Everyone. You're all beautiful souls. You've just been taught different, and we've got to believing it. Do daily prayer work and affirmation work. You know, Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. Well, there's a little part in there that's a catch. Yet, you may think you change your thinking, and you may think that you have changed your belief, but if you don't demonstrate it, you don't. You haven't. There was an individual who had a heart transplant, and after a couple months, he knew that God had healed him, and he didn't have to take his heart medicines. And shortly after that, they were barely able to save his life. The man believed in his mind that God would save him, but the man didn't know in his mind that God would save him. Our beliefs are one thing. Most of us are not in touch with our real beliefs because our real beliefs lie in our subconscious mind. And what we experience in our life is the result of our beliefs. If you want to know whether you believe something or whether you know it, if you know it, you can demonstrate it. Jesus knew. He demonstrated. And when we know, then we demonstrate. So what we do is work on our beliefs until we get to that point of the knowing. I find that this is really a super special time of our life. And that we need to change our roles. Number one, fall in love with ourselves. You'll find it very humbling. Very humbling. And number two, have that reverence for ourselves. Get rid of all that criticism, every bit of it, every bit of it. When you're in the presence of the divine, it wouldn't criticize you. It doesn't judge you. The law of cause and effect will bring back corresponding consequences. But you're never judged by the divine. It just loves you. And since we're going through such a spiritual time and such a powerful time, what I'd like to do is go into a closing prayer where we as a group, in one consciousness, do a prayer for the healing of this planet. Are you all with me? All right. Beautiful, loving source, wondrous God of my being, your holy presence fills me and every person in this room. You created us in your perfection and your magnificence and uniqueness, and you love us totally and unconditionally. You love us beyond anything that we know at this level. And yet here we are, inseparably one with you, in spite of our illusions, our misgivings, our judgments. In this oneness, as this group, I and we recognize that we are one with the loving source, the Father, Mother, God of our being. It is the totality of each one of us. It is that voice that speaks through us. It is that spirit that resonates through us. It is that essence that expresses life through us. There is no separation. We are one with that power and that light and that love and that essence and that life. And in this oneness, I and we now decree that this planet is filled with peace and light and love and joy and happiness and balance and harmony and empathy. It is the divine peace and love that rules this planet. Our consciousness of the planet is raised to the level of unconditional love. We experience unconditional love in our own lives. We feel it for ourselves. We feel it for others. We see it all around us. We see this beautiful love that loves everyone, no exceptions. And we see peace And we see an end to war, an end to violence, an end of abuse. We see a world that was created to be the expression of God. A world that is the expression of God. And we are those expressions. And I speak the word that we are guided by the higher beings, by our higher self, by the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, and all the higher beings, so that each day we take time to speak our word for ourselves and everyone on this planet. We are all one. We are all here to help each other. We are all here to serve each other. And we speak the word that we are serving each other. We are helping each other. We are loving each other. We are here for one another. No one is abandoned. No one is deserted. No one is alone. No one is unloved. Everyone is loved. Everyone is taken care of. Everyone is nurtured. And this planet resonates with the peace and the light and the love of the Spirit. We create a new essence, a new life, a new expression of this planet. And we do that every day, multiple times. We decree it, and we know that eventually what we decree must be. So we decree that it is so, and together we say powerfully, and so it is. Namaste.